In this video, I'm gonna break down if there's a difference between black paint and white paint, whether you need to change up the process, and if you should purchase color-specific wax or sealants for your vehicle. Let's get started. So is there a difference between white colored paint and black colored paint? Well, when it comes to paint correction, the process is basically going to be the same, right? The difference is perhaps on the condition that it's in and the amount of work that it needs, or the type of clear coat that it has, whether it's soft paint or hard paint. Soft paint means where it's gonna correct really easily, but it might be a bit more difficult to polish down. Where if it's on the harder side of the clear coat, it might take you more work to actually correct the paint, meaning actually remove the sores and scratches, but it's gonna polish down easier. So those two factors really have to be taken into consideration on kind of comparing between black paint and white paint. Now, if you have two vehicles in your driveway and you wanna polish both, or maybe just apply a sealant to either of them, should you really be like, okay, so with this black colored vehicle, I have to go this route because it's black, and on this vehicle, I have to go this route because it's white? It's like, no, not really, right? It's gonna go back to those three main things: the condition of the paint, the results that you want, and the type of clear coat that you have. That's gonna dictate everything. I know some people like to get very technical with it and say this, and this, that about this paint and run this system, but I just like to keep things very, very simple. So whether we have a white colored vehicle coming in, a black colored vehicle, a dark blue, a dark purple, a light yellow, a light red, a metallic flaking, but like we're basically gonna run the same system that we usually do. Now, we might have some discrepancies between based on what the customer wants for their vehicle. We might have to alter our setup just because we have to meet what they want. But as far as correcting and polishing, we use the same pad and polish combo every single time. The Oberk cut with the microfiber cutting pad, and then Oberk polish with the Oberk polishing pad. That's as simple as it gets. So if you bring to us a white colored vehicle, red colored vehicle, a black colored vehicle, we're running with that system. But again, if the customer wants this type of results, well, we might have to finesse the amount of work that we do on a two-step or a one-step to meet their needs. Now, should you get a color-specific wax or maybe a color-specific correction and compound and polish? Definitely not. I know there are products out there, not many, I don't think, but there are some out there that market either their wax or their sealant toward a specific type of color, light colored vehicles, dark colored vehicles, black colored vehicles. And honestly, like it's all the same, right? It's just the marketing talk of how they word their products to make it fit this type of demographic, right? Because if there's 10,000 people out there, I'm just making up a number. If there's 10,000 people out there that have a black colored vehicle that are on Google or YouTube searching for a black colored specific wax for their vehicle, it just kind of makes sense to put those two together and be like, hey, people are searching for a wax for their black colored vehicle. What if we make a wax that's specifically designed for a black colored vehicle? But if it has a clear coat, I mean, again, if it has a clear coat, right, whether it's on the wheels or the paint on the body of the vehicle, you're gonna follow the same process, whether it's washing, claying, decontaminating, polishing, correcting, protecting, like it's all gonna be the same process. Now, of course, there's gonna be, you have to kind of factor in as well the type of clear coat that it is, right? As far as if it's OEM or if it's like an aftermarket a spray and like how much clear coat is there. But other than that, it's gonna be the same. Now, could you take a gloss meter and perhaps kind of measure some differences between a black and a white? And to that degree, sure. But I remember I worked at a carpet cleaning company that followed that same method for a while, at least when it came to polishing tiles. And they just overcomplicated the process of what it really takes to polish something to get it to an acceptable level. Because if you read like a gloss meter or something and like it's telling you a number and you want to get it to a higher number, but it's like, what does your eye perceive, right? And this is a big thing in like photography, where like your eyes can only capture so much detail than what a lens can, like what a camera can. And at some point, it's like you're not really like, even if it is higher results or higher grade on paper, your eyes can't tell the difference. So like if there is a wax that's designed for a white colored vehicle and they compare it versus a black colored vehicle, and on this gloss meter thing it reads a higher level than this one, it's like, But what do your eyes perceive? Can your eyes honestly tell the difference? And if for you and yourself say, well, you know, this paste wax kind of gives it a different shine than this, I don't know, liquid sealant over here, then that's on you. But I don't really get into that conversation of like, hey, this type of brand wax, sealant, whatever, is best for this type of color. Just because, like, to me, I honestly just don't know as much of a difference. Like, I've done it a few times on my stories where I ask people, like, hey, what kind of wax or sealant is this? And everyone gets it wrong, right? But it still looks amazing, right? Like, there's so many factors that go into, like, what makes something look good. Now, I will say the biggest difference between a black colored vehicle and a white colored vehicle is when you actually work on it. So, let's say both the condition are the same, right? It's a level set, I don't know, let's say a level 7. Whatever that means, it's a level 7 condition, right? Of swirls and scratches in the paintwork. And the clear coat is more towards the hard side, right? So let's say those two factors are the same. It will, like, in order to get great results, you'll probably have to do more work on the black colored vehicle because you can see all the swirls and scratches versus the white colored vehicle because it's a lot more forgiving when it comes to hiding or showing those swirls and scratches. Because on a black colored vehicle, it's gonna show every imperfection, every little scratch, every little swirl, every little isolated, like you're gonna see it in it because the scratch in itself is like the actual scratch is like a little white valley, right? So that white valley is gonna contrast pretty hard against the black paint. Whereas on the white paint, if those same scratches that had that white valley, right, it's gonna blend in very well with the white colored vehicle. So in that regard, you do have to put in more effort to get great results on the black colored vehicle versus the white colored vehicle, just because the color in itself is in your favor. So again, just generally speaking, a big hypothetical, like you can get away with a one step on a white colored vehicle and get very glossy results. But if you do that same process on the black colored vehicle, you'll still get glossy results, but you'll still see a bunch of swirls and scratches in the paintwork. So it's like, for us as detailers, since we run a business, like, it's fun to work on black colored vehicles because you get the biggest before and afters, you get the biggest 50-50 shots. It's like the most drastic difference, and once you get it out and like it's corrected, it's polished and coated, like it looks like absolutely amazing. But on that same note though, you do have to spend a lot more time to make sure that you're correcting it down. You're making sure that you're polishing it correctly. You're making sure that there's no haze in that paintwork. Because let's say you have a soft colored vehicle, a clear coat on the vehicles, right? On both black and white. Well, on the black colored vehicle, if you leave a bit of haze in there from your correction and polishing, you might be able to see it on the black colored vehicle because it's like, again, like it's so easy to tell the imperfections. But on a white colored vehicle, if you leave a bit of haze in there, you're not gonna tell unless you really, really dial in and look at it. And 10 out of 10 times, a customer will not see haze in the paintwork on a white colored vehicle versus a black colored vehicle, right? Like most people won't be able to tell half the swirls and scratches that are in the paintwork on a white colored vehicle versus a black colored vehicle. So the actual difference is just in the effort that you have to put in, right? Because the black paint shows a lot more swirls and scratches. Even though if they have the same types of swirls and scratches, the black paint shows more swirls and scratches than the white colored vehicle. And depending on the condition that you want to bring it to, it might take some more finessement, it might take more effort, just because like it's less forgiving on the black colored vehicle because you can see all the imperfections, you can see the haze, you can see the isolated scratches, you can see the deeper scratches. On the white colored vehicle, it's a lot more forgiving. Like you can do probably like a quarter or half the work that you do on the black colored vehicle, assuming all things are the same, and still get amazing results. Like that, just we see it time and time again here in our detail shop. When we're doing paint corrections, ceramic coatings, we're like, on a black colored vehicle, it gives you the best results, it's the most satisfying, but man, like you are gonna put more effort into that vehicle just due to the nature of the paint versus a white colored vehicle. Okay, that's gonna end the video right here. I wanna keep it simple and straightforward just because you don't need to overcomplicate this process. Hopefully you learned something. Let me know if you have any questions down below about the paint systems or the colors, and if you have a different opinion, you're more than welcome to share it down in the comment section down below. For any of the links that I have or some of the products that I use, I'll have them down below. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.